Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Ah, okay, it's the glasses. All right, yeah, these. And I'll get the glare with these. Okay. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Check. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. It's beginning now, the month of Kartik, in celebration of the pastime of Lord Krishna as Damodara, Mother Yasoda's child, and that is the breaking of the butter pots and the binding of the Lord with the rope by his mother. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But this is a beautiful recording of a nice devotee, Svarupa Damodara. I met him and his wife in the right around year 2000 or so. And very nice devotee. Beautiful, he sings beautifully. So this is him. He chants a lot of the different Vaishnava songs. This is his Damodarastakam. Yeah, so get a little taste of the beautiful song. I'll put a link to that. It's on YouTube. I'll put a link in the post here. I wanted to read the pastime and then maybe discuss a little bit, because they're not just like cute little stories. There's very deep meaning in all of Lord Krishna's pastimes. And I want to try to go into that a little bit, some of that deep meaning. But anyway, Krishna. So this is from Krishna book. And I'll put a link to that also. Once, glories to Srila Prabhupada, and glories to my dear friend and spiritual guide, Srila Gaurahari. Once, seeing that her maidservant was engaged in different household work, Mother Yasoda personally churned butter. While she churned butter, she sang the wonderful childhood pastimes of her son Krishna, and relished thinking of him. At that time, Krishna appeared there and was hungry. He wanted her to stop churning the butter and feed him first. That's while she was thinking of the pastimes of Krishna, Krishna appeared there and wanted her full attention and to stop doing the household duties and give her full attention, specifically to feed him with her breast milk. Mother Yasoda took her son on her lap and started feeding him. While Krishna was sucking the milk, Mother Yasoda smiled and enjoyed the beauty of her child Krishna. That's pretty intimate, a child Krishna is sucking the milk from Mother Yasoda's breast. It's a very intimate relationship, mother and child, like that. So suddenly, the milk, which was on the stove, began to boil over. Now, the milk on the stove is cow's milk, okay? And the cow's milk is, that's connected to the maintenance of society and the varnas and the ashrams and the brahmins and the vaishyas and the kshatriyas and the sudras. This is the cow's milk. So that was on the stove, and that began to demand attention, that it was starting to boil over. So milk is also compared to religiosity. It's called liquid religiosity. So the highest principle is this intimate relationship with the Lord, like Mother Yasoda and her child Krishna. So that milk and that form of service to the Lord, or religious principle, is the highest. But the other religious principle, which is related to the cow's milk and the maintenance of society, that was now demanding attention. Mother Yasoda, here's what she did. Just to stop the milk from spilling, that's the milk, the cow's milk on the stove, Mother Yasoda at once put Krishna aside and went to the stove. So she took her attention away from this highest principle of loving service of the Lord, to the Lord, to pay attention to the other more external religious principle of the cow's milk was boiling over. So that religiosity for the sake of maintaining society, which is kind of an external principle. So she put the internal principle aside to attend to the external principles of religion. What happened? Left in that state by his mother, Krishna became very angry. And his lips and eyes became red in rage. Krishna didn't like that. To put aside this personal relationship with him to attend to some external religious function connected to religious, external religion. He pressed his teeth and lips, and taking up a piece of stone, he immediately broke the butter pot. This was the pot Mother Yasoda was churning butter in, which she had put aside to attend to Krishna. So now this butter is what? It's made from the cow's milk, and it's the cream of the cow's milk, which is then churned into butter, which is then what? Made into ghee. For what? For these religious ceremonies and sacrifices, which are on this external level. So Krishna didn't like being put aside for all this external activity, and he stole that butter. So it couldn't be made into ghee now because he stole it. And what did he do with it? He took the butter out of the broken butter pot, and with false tears in his eyes, he began to eat the butter in a secluded place. Interesting, he did that. In the meantime, Mother Yasoda returned to the churning place after setting the overflowing milk pan in order. She saw the broken pot in which the churned yogurt had been kept. Yeah, actually, real butter that we have is churned from yogurt. It's not churned from the cream on milk. It's actually churned from yogurt. and then that is made into ghee. There's a devotee who does a lot of research on this and makes these videos explaining the actual Vedic practices. He's on YouTube. His channel is called The Vedic Way. I guess I'll put another link to that. So, yeah, and he explains that actual ghee, the really, really healthy, fantastic stuff, is made from churned yogurt. Now, sometimes if you buy whole yogurt in the store, on the top there's like a cream, a thick cream. That's what's churned into butter, not the thick stuff on top of the milk, which actually is kind of like buttermilk. So there it is, said, in which the churned yogurt had been kept. So they were making the real stuff. Since she could not find her boy, she concluded that the broken pot was his work. She smiled as she thought, the child is very clever. After breaking the pot, he has left this place, fearing punishment. So he disappeared. After she sought all over, she found her son sitting on a big wooden grinding mortar, which was kept upside down. He was taking butter from a pot, which is hanging from the ceiling on a swing. So not only did he break the butter pot that she was churning, but now he was also plundering the storage place where more butter was being kept. And he was feeding it to the monkeys. Now that butter was meant to be for sacrifice, made into ghee for sacrifices, plus for cooking, but that's where you get the ghee from, is this butter. And what was he doing with it? He was giving it to monkeys. So, yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. She saw Krishna looking this way and that in fear of her because he was conscious of his naughty behavior. Now, it looks like naughty behavior, but if we look at the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, they're plundering the storehouse and they're distributing its contents freely to human beings who are really, I hate to say it, but it's true, more or less monkey-type human beings. Very undisciplined. One thing monkeys are very well known for is their uncontrolled sex behavior. I mean, that's actually a birth that's reserved for a renunciate who can't control sex desire. They get to take birth as a monkey in Vrindavan, and it's actually said to be their last life because they're burning off that karma. But that monkey, so human beings in the present day are really a lot like monkeys in that sense of this uncontrolled sexual activity. So Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are freely distributing to these types of human beings this highest nectar. And so you see here, Krishna is feeding this ghee, which ordinarily, yogurt butter, ordinarily would be reserved for the Brahminical class to make into sacrifice, for the sacrifices and the rituals. And here Krishna is just circumventing all of that and just, here, take it, giving it to these monkeys. So Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, they're doing the same thing, the Panchatattva. They're giving the highest thing directly to the most fallen, Jagai and Madhai. When ordinarily it would have to go through a long process of varnashram system and the Brahmins and there's a remnant of that. Okay, that's a remnant of it, and that's being maintained. Prabhupada set that up. But the higher principle is there. If we look at Prabhupada's books, we can see is this free distribution, no qualification required. So we see it in this pastime of Damodar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay, he was conscious of his naughty behavior, and after seeing her son so engaged, she silently approached him from behind Krishna. Krishna, however, saw her coming toward him with a stick in her hand, and he immediately got down from the grinding mortar and began to flee in fear. Okay, the stick. Now, Mother Yasoda's relationship with Krishna is that she's a parent, and she makes the rules and she disciplines her child, and that's what she's trying to do here. She saw his behavior as being inappropriate, and it was her duty as a parent to correct him, and chastise him, and show him, the right set of rules for the proper behavior. And so she's approaching him with a stick. Okay. Mother Yasoda chased him to all corners, trying to capture the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But that's not how you capture Krishna, with trying to confine him to rules and appropriate behavior. He's completely free to behave in any way that he likes, but it's part of her loving relationship, and Krishna's accepting her loving sentiment, but he's also showing that that's not how he's going to show here, how that's not how he is captured, is running around with a stick and trying to get him to behave a certain way. That's not going to do it. So, trying to capture the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was never approached even by the meditations of great yogis. In other words, the Supreme Personality of Krishna, of Godhead, Krishna, who was never caught by the yogis and speculators, was playing just like a little child for such a great devotee as Mother Yasoda. It's really a funny scene. The Supreme Personality of God is appearing. The great yogis and meditators and all these great personalities, they try to capture Krishna, and he's playing like a little child. Mother Yasoda is running around trying to catch him. It's very funny. Mother Yasoda, however, could not easily catch the fast-running child because of her thin waist and heavy body. Still, she tried to follow him as fast as possible. Well, that makes it even more amusing. Because of her body like that, the big breasts and the thin waist and the big hips, she's trying to run. It's really, really kind of fun to see. I'm sure Krishna was enjoying the sight. Her hair loosened, and the flowers in her hair fell to the ground. Although she was tired, she somehow reached her naughty child and captured him. Yeah, somehow reached him. He let her reach him. When he was caught, Krishna was almost on the point of crying. He smeared his hands over his eyes, which were anointed with black eye cosmetics. The child saw his mother's face while she stood over him, and his eyes became restless from fear. Krishna. Mother Yasoda could understand that the child was unnecessarily afraid. She's standing there with a stick, And for his benefit, she wanted to allay his fears. Being the topmost well-wisher of her child, Mother Yasoda thought, if the child is too fearful of me, I don't know what will happen to him. Yeah, trying to control, in religion, there's all this fear stuff, fear of going to hell. If you break this rule, or you don't do this perfectly, or you don't, give, so many things, and if you don't in other words, performing service to the Lord out of fear of some kind of punishment. No. No. Service performed to the Lord needs to be done in love, not fear. Fear of God. Oh, if I don't do this, this is going to happen. No. So here Mother Yasoda says, if the child is too fearful of me, I don't know what will happen to him. So she's seeing that chasing him with a stick and threatening him is not the way to go. She sees that. And he's looking up at her in a very fearful state. Mother Yasoda then threw away her stick. Okay, so she's not going to use a stick on him. But something had to be done to fix the situation. She couldn't just let him get away with that, breaking the pot and stealing the butter, which is meant for making into ghee, to perform the sacrifices and so on. I mean, she couldn't just let him get away with that. She had to do something. It was her duty as a mother, right? She had to do that. So, in order to punish him, she thought of binding his hands with some ropes. She thought, well, I'll just tie him up because he's behaving, his activities are unacceptable, so let's just not let him do anything. We'll tie him up and he won't be able to do anything. And in that way, teach him to behave properly. She did not know it, but it was actually impossible for her to bind the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one can bind the Supreme Lord. Mother Yasoda was thinking that Krishna was her tiny child. See, residents, they don't think of Krishna as God at all. They just love him in different moods of love. She did not know that the child had no limitation. There's no inside or outside of him, nor beginning or end. He's unlimited and all-pervading. Indeed, he is himself the whole cosmic manifestation. Wow. Still, Mother Yasoda was thinking of Krishna as her child. And he was reciprocating with her in the same way. Although he is beyond the reach of all senses, she endeavored to bind him with a wooden grinding mortar. But when she tried to bind him, she found that the rope she was using was short by 2 inches. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. He was trying to use ordinary rope here, and it was not working. She gathered more ropes from the house and added to it, but still she found the same shortage. Krishna is unlimited. No amount of rope. You took all the rope in the whole world, you couldn't tie Krishna up with it. Hare Krishna. It's like the mind. You can't capture Krishna just with our mind, no matter how hard we try. Our mental activities, we can't. Krishna is unlimited. We cannot contain Krishna simply with our mind. So she couldn't do it with the rope. And here it is. In this way, she connected all the ropes available at home, but when the final knot was added, she saw the rope was still 2 inches short. In another pastime, we see how Krishna, anything with Krishna is unlimited. It's according to his desire that he makes himself available in different ways. But he's unlimited, like with Draupadi, when she was being embarrassed and insulted and offended in the assembly of the Kurus. And Krishna, they're trying to disrobe her, and Krishna supplied unlimited sari. So here it's kind of the idea of unlimited. No matter how much rope there is, it's not enough. See, Dushashan, he couldn't come to the end of the sari. well, here, no matter how much rope there is, it's not enough. So Mother Yasoda was smiling, but she was astonished. How was it happening? It was always 2 inches too short. In attempting to bind her son, she became tired. She was perspiring, and the garland on her head fell down. Then Lord Krishna appreciated the hard labor of his mother. Okay, Krishna was attracted to how she was trying to serve so nicely her son, and she was going through so much trouble to try to serve him, because this was her service, that she had to teach him the right way to behave. She was just doing her service, as a mother would with a child. And being compassionate on her, he agreed to be bound by the ropes. Krishna, playing as a human child in the house of Mother Yasoda, was performing his own selected pastimes. And because of her devotion, he agreed to be bound up. Of course, no one can control the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The pure devotee surrenders himself unto the lotus feet of the Lord, who may either protect or vanquish the devotee. But for his part, the devotee never forgets his own position of surrender. Similarly, the Lord also feels transcendental pleasure by submitting himself to the protection of the devotee. This was exemplified by Krishna's surrender unto his mother Yasoda. Krishna allowed himself to be controlled by love. He surrendered to the love of his devotee in the form of protection, because that's a real prominent feature of parental mood, is very protective, nurturing and protective. That's very much related to the parental mood of love. So she was showing her nurturing, and now her protective. And the Lord was accepting that. Now he's feeling protected by Mother Yasoda. Krishna is the supreme bestower of all kinds of liberation to his devotees, but the benediction which was bestowed upon Mother Yasoda was never experienced even by Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva or the goddess of fortune. Yeah, so this is like way beyond simply liberation. This is very intimate, loving exchange where the Supreme Lord surrendered to his devotee. Wow, Krishna. Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was known as the son of Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj, is never so completely known to the yogis and speculators. But he is easily available to his devotees. Yeah, others can't know the personality of Godhead. Only devotees who have this intimate exchange with the Lord, intimate loving relationship, when they realize their intimate loving relationship. After binding her son, Mother Yasoda engaged herself in household affairs. At that time, bound up to the wooden mortar, Krishna could see a pair of trees before him, which were known as Arjuna trees. The great reservoir of pleasure, Lord Sri Krishna thus thought to himself, Mother Yasoda first of all left without feeding me sufficient milk. And therefore I broke the pot of yogurt and distributed the stock butter in charity to the monkeys. Now she has bound me up to a wooden mortar. So I shall do something more mischievous than before. And thus he thought of pulling down the 2 very tall Arjuna trees. So he accepted her protective mood, allowed himself to be tied up, but he is Krishna, and he is acting as a naughty child. So this is what he comes up with, because he's just naughty like that. It's part of his relationship with his mother. There is a history behind the pair of the Arjuna trees. In the previous lives, the trees were born as the human sons of Kuvera, and their names were Nala, Kuvera, and Manigriva. Fortunately, they came within the vision of the Lord. In the previous lives, they were cursed by the great sage Narada in order to receive the highest benediction of seeing Lord Krishna. This benediction, curse, was bestowed upon them because of their forgetfulness due to intoxication. Yeah, so a curse by a great devotee like Narada, it looks like a curse, but actually we see that it's not really a curse, and that they were made to take birth as trees, but not just any tree. They were trees in the courtyard, Nanda and Yasoda, where Krishna was appearing as a child, and so they were liberated by the Lord directly, personally. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Interesting that Nala, Kuvera, and Manigriva were in Vrindavan, but they didn't stay. They were there being punished. Their punishment was to be in Vrindavan as two trees. That was their punishment. And their benediction was they were relieved of those tree bodies and they could go back to the heavenly planets. Oh well. Hare Krishna. They couldn't stay in Vrindavan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. They had to finish out their demigod lifetime. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, boy, the turnout in the temple this morning was a lot of devotees there. Devotees that you only see at festivals, because it's the beginning of this Kartik season. And they were all there for Mangal Arti. It's pretty nice Mangal Arti, actually. And, yeah. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So I stayed again for a little bit of japa, and I was like, Krishna, just praying to Krishna, and my spiritual masters, what can I do to serve? I mean, how can I serve them, Hare Krishna, just praying, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So, just play a little bit more of that Damodarastakam prayer. It's so pretty. And, yeah. I'll put a link in the on the post. Hare Krishna.